Hello and welcome back to G Fun Facts Online, your go-to spot for uncovering the most amazing and sometimes surprising truths from around the world and throughout history. Today, we're journeying back to the 9th century, to the heart of Mesopotamia, a land often called the cradle of civilization. While exploring an empire at its zenith, the Abbasid Caliphate, renowned for its dazzling scientific and cultural advancements, a true golden age. But beneath the shimmering surface of this prosperity lies a story of breathtaking engineering, vast agricultural wealth, and a brutal reality that has only recently been brought into clearer focus by cutting-edge archaeology. We're talking about colossal irrigation systems that transformed deserts into gardens, and the unseen hands that built them. Get ready, because this is a story etched into the very landscape of modern-day Iraq. For millennia, the Fertile Crescent, nourished by the legendary Tigris and Euphrates rivers, has been a powerhouse of agriculture. And during the Abbasid Caliphate, which flourished from 750 to 1258 CE with its glittering capital in Baghdad, these ancient irrigation traditions were taken to a whole new level. Think big, then think bigger. The southern part of Iraq, known as the Sawad, this incredibly rich alluvial plain, became the empire's breadbasket. Its output was absolutely crucial for feeding a massive, growing urban population and fueling a vast economy. The Abbasids weren't just lucky with the land, they were master engineers. They invested massively in repairing, expanding, and even creating entirely new irrigation networks. One of the most jaw-dropping examples was the Nahrawan Canal. This wasn't just a ditch, it was a monumental system drawing water from the Tigris to irrigate enormous areas east of Baghdad. It had roots in even earlier periods, but under the Abbasids, it reached its peak, becoming a lifeline for Baghdad's water supply and the agricultural heartland. We're talking about a complex network of main canals, smaller distributaries, and tiny watercourses stretching for hundreds of kilometers. Imagine the planning, the sheer manpower, and the sophisticated knowledge of hydraulics needed for that. Historical texts tell us that the Abbasid caliphs themselves were deeply involved in water management. They knew it was critical, not just for food, but for state revenue. They even set up special government departments to oversee these massive projects. And they used all sorts of cool tech. Think qanats, those ingenious underground channels that bring water from aquifers, plus water wheels called norias, dams, and dikes. All of this was refined to efficiently get water to the fields, allowing them to grow a huge variety of crops. We're talking wheat, barley, rice, dates, cotton, and even new introductions like citrus fruits, which needed very specific irrigation. The agricultural output was so immense that the Sawad region contributed the lion's share of tax revenue to the Abbasid treasury. That's how you power an empire. Now, while these agro-engineering feats are undeniably impressive, there's a darker side to this agricultural boom, a truth that modern science is helping us confront more directly. For a long time, it's been understood that this incredible productivity relied heavily on the labor of enslaved people. Primarily, these were individuals from East Africa, known historically as the Zanj. Their backbreaking work was instrumental in reclaiming land, especially in the challenging salt marshes of southern Iraq near Basra, and in constructing and constantly maintaining these sprawling irrigation networks. Imagine, under the scorching Mesopotamian sun, the toil involved in digging canals, clearing land, and keeping these vital water systems flowing, often for very little in return. For centuries, much of our understanding of the Zanj and their role came from historical texts. But recently, archaeology has stepped in to provide compelling physical evidence, and it's painting an even more detailed and stark picture. Researchers using high-resolution satellite imagery, like super detailed maps from space, along with sophisticated dating techniques like radiocarbon dating and something called optically stimulated luminescence, or OSL analysis, have made some incredible discoveries. They've mapped an extensive network of over 7,000 agricultural ridges and irrigation channels. Get this! This network spans more than 500 square kilometers in the Shatt al-Arab floodplain. That's a massive area, meticulously engineered for agriculture. And crucially, the dating of these man-made features places their construction and use between the late 9th and mid-13th centuries CE. Now, why is this timeline so significant? Because it coincides with, and actually extends beyond, a major historical event, the Zanj Rebellion. This was a huge and long-lasting uprising from 869 to 883 CE by enslaved Africans and other marginalized groups against the Abbasid Caliphate. The trigger? The absolutely horrific working conditions in those salt marshes, where laborers were forced to remove the nitrous topsoil to make the land farmable, often with barely enough food to survive. This revolt, led by a figure named Ali ibn Muhammad, grew so large that it seriously challenged the caliphate's authority. The Zanj even established their own state and sacked major cities like Basra before the rebellion was finally brutally crushed after 14 long years of conflict. So what the archaeology is telling us is astonishing. The construction of these large-scale agricultural systems, very likely using enslaved or coerced labor, didn't just stop with the Zanj Rebellion. In fact, the evidence suggests these practices may have continued, and possibly even intensified, in the years after the rebellion was put down. It represents a long-term, multi-century investment in tidal irrigation. This engineered landscape is a silent, sprawling testament to the immense human effort involved, and the exploitative labor systems that underpinned the region's agricultural wealth. These discoveries are vital because they highlight the lasting environmental and economic impact of these enslaved populations, whose individual voices have been largely lost to history. So what does this all mean? The intricate irrigation systems of 9th century Iraq were, without a doubt, a marvel of agro-engineering. They transformed arid landscapes into fertile farmlands, supported a vibrant civilization, and poured wealth into the Abbasid Caliphate. But as we're seeing more clearly now, this prosperity came at an enormous human cost. The recent archaeological evidence doesn't just add detail, it powerfully underscores the central role of enslaved laborers in creating and maintaining these vast networks. The landscape of southern Iraq today, with its thousands of ancient ridges and canals still visible, is more than just a relic of old farming techniques. It's a poignant, physical reminder of the complex, and often uncomfortable, interplay between technological advancement, economic ambition, and the brutal realities of forced labor that shaped this critical period in history. Unveiling these slave-built irrigation systems allows us, here at Fun Facts Online, and for historians everywhere, to have a more nuanced understanding of 9th century Iraqi society. It means acknowledging not only its incredible intellectual and engineering achievements, which were very real, but also the profound human suffering that was an integral, undeniable part of its foundation. This ongoing research is so important because it helps to give a kind of voice, or at least recognition, to those marginalized individuals whose intense labor literally shaped the land we can still see today. It ensures their contribution and their suffering are not forgotten. Interestingly, the decline of these magnificent irrigation systems, which began around the mid-10th century, mirrored the gradual decline of the Abbasid Caliphate itself. Eventually, large agricultural areas were abandoned, and the region's prosperity shifted. So the incredible story of the Abbasid Caliphate's agricultural heartland is one of dazzling ingenuity and immense human suffering, existing side by side. The Fertile Crescent bloomed thanks to brilliant engineering, but it was watered by the sweat and toil of countless enslaved people. These recent archaeological findings are like uncovering a hidden chapter, reminding us that history is complex and often has layers we're still peeling back. The very ground beneath our feet can hold stories of triumph and tragedy, innovation and exploitation. It's a powerful reminder that when we look at the grand achievements of past empires, it's always worth asking, who built this and at what cost? Thank you for joining me on Fun Facts Online for this deep dive into a fascinating and sobering piece of history. We hope it gave you something to think about. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to keep uncovering more amazing facts with us. Until next time, keep asking questions and stay curious.